Let's go Dolphins fans. What I'm about to tell you might completely change how you view this offseason. There's something happening behind the scenes in Miami that isn't being talked about enough, and it involves Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, trade rumors, locker room tension, and the true direction the franchise is heading towards 2026. But before we dive into all that, be sure to hit the like button right now if you're a true Miami Dolphins fan. And don't just sit there silently. I want to see you in the comments. Leave this here now. Go Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange. Let's see who's really with this team, no matter what. Let's go. Jalen Waddle opened up about his relationship with Tua Tagovailoa in a way that shows just how deep that connection really is. He made it clear that their bond goes way beyond football. They've known each other since they were teenagers. From 18 or 19 years old to now 27, that's almost a decade of shared experiences, growth, and brotherhood. Waddle even said their relationship is the type where their kids could grow up being friends. That's not just chemistry on the field. That's life connection. He emphasized that they don't just talk football. Half the time, it's about other things. Life, the off-season, where they're training, when they're getting together to throw. And if Tua ever needs someone to vent to or ask for advice, Waddle says his line is always open. That matters, especially in a moment when there's uncertainty around the quarterback position and the front office is evaluating every option. At the same time, there's the cold reality of the NFL business. Waddle admitted he got a glimpse of just how ruthless this league can be when his name showed up in trade rumors. He sounded genuinely surprised. Me? I'm head of trade? That reaction tells you something. Players know the business is cutthroat, but when your name pops up, it hits differently. He talked about how quickly everything can change. One day you're settled, your routine is set, your family is comfortable. The next day you could be across the country. That's the part fans sometimes forget. This isn't just fantasy football pieces moving around. These are families, homes, schools, entire lives being uprooted. And Waddle has been in Miami since 2021. That stability matters. Still, he understands the reality. If a team isn't winning, changes are coming. That's the truth in this league. Success is the only currency that counts. And when success doesn't reach expectations, front offices start evaluating contracts, value, and long-term direction. Now let's talk about something else that really stood out. Waddle addressed his relationship with Mcdaniel. He said he has a lot of love for him. He praised Mcdaniel for staying the same through the highs and lows. Not getting too high when things were rolling. Not getting too low when things were rough. Waddle even called him a genius when it comes to game planning and getting playmakers the ball. But he also admitted there were moments where they butted heads. That's important. We've all seen flashes of frustration on the sideline over the years. Moments where communication didn't look smooth. Situations where play calls came in late or tempo felt off. Waddle's acknowledgement of tension doesn't mean dysfunction. It means competitiveness. It means expectations. Elite players want the ball. They want rhythm. They want execution. And let's not forget 2023. That explosive year when the offense was lighting up the league. There were stretches where Tyreek Hill was clearly the focal point. Get Tyreek the ball was almost a mantra. It worked statistically, but when Hill missed time, Waddle stepped up in a major way. He showed he can dominate too, against strong defenses, in big spots. That's the dynamic of having multiple elite receivers, balancing touches, managing egos, maximizing production. Waddle made it clear that personal frustrations never changed how he views Mcdaniel as a coach. He believes in his offensive mind. He believes he'll have a long future in this league. But hearing a star receiver openly admit that there were moments of tension, that tells you this locker room has layers. And here's where it gets interesting for us as fans. We know the Dolphins didn't reach the Super Bowl last season. The dream is still alive for 2026, but the front office is going to need a quality roster to make that leap. Some fans are really liking the work of John Eric Sullivan as general manager. Others still miss Chris Greer and what he built. So let me ask you something that might make you scratch your head. When you hear Waddle talk about loyalty, brotherhood with Tua, the ruthlessness of the business, and the reality of trade rumors, what direction should this team take? Do you double down on the core and build around that chemistry? Or do you consider bold moves if it means reshaping the future? Because if Waddle's name can come up in trade talks, no one is untouchable. And this is where the temperature really starts rising behind the scenes. Because when you combine everything Jalen Waddle said with the current state of the roster, the cap situation, and the uncertainty swirling around key positions, you start to see the bigger picture forming. This is not just about one interview. This is about direction. Waddle made something very clear without directly saying it. He understands this is a results business. If the team doesn't win, changes are inevitable. That's not bitterness. That's maturity. That's a player who has been in the league long enough to know how quickly the narrative shifts. One season you're a rising powerhouse. The next, you're evaluating contracts and future flexibility. And think about what that means for 2026. If the Dolphins are serious about building a championship roster, every decision from this offseason forward matters. The combine chatter, the quiet conversations between executives, the trade evaluations, the financial maneuvering. It all builds toward that one goal, getting over the hump. What makes Waddle's comments about Tua even more powerful is the loyalty factor. In a league where business decisions can rip apart even strong locker rooms, he's publicly reinforcing that bond. That matters in a locker room. That matters to younger players watching how veterans handle adversity. But it also adds weight to whatever decision the front office makes. If the organization moves in a different direction at quarterback, that ripple effect won't just be tactical. It will be emotional. You're not just replacing a passer. You're adjusting the dynamic of one of the strongest relationships in the building. Now let's talk about something fans don't always see clearly. When Waddle described how ruthless the business is, that wasn't just a generic statement. That was a glimpse into how players mentally prepare themselves. They know they can be here one day and gone the next. They know their name can trend during the trade deadline without warning. And yet they still show up, practice, and perform. That kind of awareness can do one of two things. It can make a player distant, or it can make him locked in and determined to prove his value. From the tone of this interview, it sounds like Waddle chose the second option. He's not asking out. He's not complaining. He's acknowledging reality and doubling down on professionalism. And when he talked about butting heads with Mcdaniel, that wasn't drama. That was competitive fire. Elite players don't stay silent when they feel something could be better. They want sharper execution, faster communication, cleaner rhythm. Those sideline reactions? That's someone who cares. But here's the part that should really spark conversation. When a star receiver openly admits there were moments of tension and also admits he understands the business could move him at any time, that tells you he's aware the organization is evaluating everything. This isn't blind loyalty. This is calculated awareness. So what does the front office do with that? Do they lean into the chemistry that's already built between Tua and Waddle and invest heavily in reinforcing that offensive core? Or do they evaluate the financial structure and long-term cap implications and decide that one bold trade could reshape the roster in a way that sets them up better for sustained success? Because let's be honest, 2026 is not about being competitive. It's about contending. The AFC is not getting easier. Other teams are restructuring contracts, manipulating cap space, positioning themselves for aggressive moves in free agency. If Miami stands still, they risk falling behind. But if they move too aggressively, they risk disrupting what still works inside that locker room. That's the balancing act. Waddle's interview didn't give us final answers. It gave us something more valuable, clarity on mindset. He loves Miami. He respects his coaches. He believes in his quarterback. But he also knows nothing is guaranteed. And that's where we stand as fans. Are we watching the foundation of something that just needs refinement? Or are we at the edge of a turning point that could redefine this franchise's identity heading into 2026? This is not just off-season noise. This is a crossroads. So now I want to hear from you. After everything Waddle said about Tua, about the business, about coaching, about trade rumors, do you believe the Dolphins should protect this core and build around it no matter what? Or do you think a bold, even uncomfortable move is necessary to finally bring a Super Bowl back to Miami? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're still here with me, make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and check out the video on your screen next where we dive even deeper into the roster decisions shaping this franchise's future. Fins up!